Hey teachers, how you doing? This is Jacob Clifford. Now, like you, there's one thing I know about the school year. It's gonna be weird. Some of you are gonna be teaching normal, like in class instruction. Some are gonna be doing it entirely online, virtually, and some of us are gonna have classes that are basically a hybrid and could completely change. So I'm making this video to give you some strategies and resources to help you get through the school year and make it a whole lot easier to teach. Okay, for number one, if you've ever been to one of my workshops or if you've ever seen any videos where I'm teaching students in class, you'll see I do a lot of collaborative learning. Probably every 5 to 10 minutes, I'm telling students, okay, explain this to your partner, doing a lot of partner pair share work. But it's gonna be hard to do that in a virtual setting. So here's a strategy that you can use. It's on Zoom. If you use Zoom, you can use the breakout session. Now this does require that you have the paid version of Zoom, but I used it this summer when I did my macro and micro workshops for teachers, and it was awesome. Basically, you do a normal Zoom and you can click on down here where it has breakout rooms, and you can decide how many students you want to go to the different rooms by saying, I want 15 rooms for 30 students, so there's gonna be 2 students per room. And you can make it so the students automatically are sent out to the rooms. You click right here, create rooms, and boom, the students are automatically sent out. And those rooms become kind of their own little Zoom session with just those 2 or 3 or 4 students talking to each other. Now there's one major drawback, which is if you send students into breakout rooms and you don't know what they're actually doing. Are they actually working on what you asked them to work on? Or are they doing something else? The good news is you can drop in on any one of the rooms, but you can only do one at a time. So really it's gonna be hard to keep track of which students are getting the work done and which ones are just messing around. So here's a strategy that I would use with students. I would tell them I have a phantom button that allows me to go to any breakout room, but they won't be able to see that I'm actually there. Now, it's actually not true. There's no such thing, but the students don't know that. Yes, I am advocating that you lie to your students. Yes, I know, but if you're a teacher, you do it all the time. You know what I'm talking about. But the point is, if students think there's a chance that you might be in the breakout session watching what they're doing, they're more likely to get the work done. But again, the overall strategy here is to use the breakout rooms feature on Zoom and send students into small groups where they can work on practice for responses or worksheets or other things so they can get the job done. Now, to make that easier, this year I've made worksheets for AP Macroeconomics, AP Microeconomics, and AP Government. These worksheets come in both a PDF version where you can actually fill it out online, have students submit it, or you can actually do it in class, but they also come with a digital version that you can assign and grade digitally. These are awesome because they're entirely virtual. Students can fill out the worksheet, they still can draw the graphs and upload them, but it eliminates the idea of having students print out a PDF, write things by hand, scan it, or take a picture of it and send it to you. Doing it digitally is a whole lot easier with these forms that I'm creating. Again, I have it for AP Macro, Micro, AP Gov, and regular economics. So if you want to see any of those worksheets and get a free teacher trial, email me and I'll send them out to you so you can take a look. And the reason why I'm bringing them up is because they really work with this first strategy. You can get the students, put them in breakout rooms on Zoom, and say, I want you to work on this worksheet together with your partner. That way students can still work collaboratively, but they're working on their own worksheet and filling that out in their own words. This year, the worksheets and the ultimate review packet are sold completely separately, so you can just get the worksheets for your students. And a lot of teachers have asked me, should I get the worksheets or the ultimate review packet? I tell teachers, if you can only get one, get those worksheets. They're gonna help you teach virtually, they're gonna help your students learn, and they're designed for an AP course. Now, another resource I wanna share with you is my unit breakdowns for AP Macro, Micro, and Gov. These tell you all the different topics and concepts that are in the course, and they come with videos for every single topic. This is totally gonna help you with flipping the classroom, whether you're in class and you want to assign videos for homework, or whether you're teaching virtually and you want to have some flip videos to help the students learn. So I gave you the link to download those. They're in the description below. Just click on that. You can give them out to your students. Big strategy number 2, in my class, I do a lot of skill building with my students. We focus on teamwork, communication, organization, problem solving skills. I do that for a whole week in this program that I call boot camp. If you have my teacher resources, then you've seen the boot camp activities. They're very physical. They require students to move around and be touching things. And if you're teaching virtually, you can't do some of these activities. So even though it's going to be hard, I still think you definitely have to do some sort of skill building and community building with your students if you're teaching virtually. With COVID, it's important for students to feel comfortable, to feel like they're part of a team and they're there to learn. They're not just one person watching a video online. They're there with other learners. A great example of this is an activity I do called Where's the Fish? It's an organization activity that allows students to work collaboratively on solving basically a riddle. I don't know if it was true, but supposedly this riddle was actually written by Einstein. He said only 10% of the population can figure this out. His version had these different people in these different houses drinking alcohol and smoking cigarettes, so I made some changes for you. Basically, this is all deductive reasoning. They have a series of clues that give them information about these 5 people, where they live, what kind of pets they have, what do they drink, what do they eat, And that's the information they need to figure out and put together to come up to figure out which person owns the fish. That's why it's called Where's the Fish? Solving this riddle actually does take a good amount of time. It takes the average person, including adults, about 20 to 25 minutes. Most students actually will take 30 minutes to get it done. And you can decide to have students do it individually or in groups. If it was me, I'd do a little bit of both. I'd have the students work independently on their own for 15 minutes and then put them in their breakout rooms and see if they can work collaboratively, maybe take them back out, maybe give them some hints along the way. But the idea here is for them to work on their organization skills. How do you solve and attack a problem? But with all my skill building activities, you got to remember the most important part is the debrief session where students reflect on what they did. So I made an assignment that goes along with this that allows students to reflect on their performance, what they did right, what they did wrong, what they would change so they can get more organized and do better in the future. And that's really what this is all about. It's preparing them for the skills they're going to be using once we actually get into the content, but not yet because we're talking about the first or second day of school here. Now I'm going to give you this activity, but there's a bunch of other ones in my bootcamp program that you can modify and work for you and your students. For example, the communication shapes activity. And that goes for this activity and a bunch of other activities that you see in the bootcamp program. The point is, still do skill building activities with your students even if you're doing virtual learning. Okay, let's switch gears. There's another strategy I think you can use. Some people swear by it. It's something called peer grade. So the idea is they submit their homework online, like their problem set online, and then they have to grade each other's, and then their combined average score is what goes in the grade book. So if you're like me and you do problem sets where students grade at the very end of the unit and they, in class go over the answers, this can save you a lot of time. You can still do it virtually because students are grading each other's anyways, except they're doing it all on the internet. Again, the website is called Peer Grade, and I left you the link in the description below. And since we're talking about websites, make sure to take a look at Poll Everywhere. It's another great resource to get your students engaged. The way I use it is inside my PowerPoint. I'll ask students questions, and they'll text in their answers, and it basically creates this poll and creates some student engagement. It's simple, it's cheap, it's free, and it's super easy. Again, it's called Poll Everywhere. Now, the last strategy I want to give you is not a website or a resource. It's kind of a bigger idea, and that's the idea of using guided practice in your video lectures or in your class. For years in my class, students would just fill out notes. On a piece of paper, they'd take notes on my PowerPoint, they'd write down definitions or draw graphs, and that's good. But what I found is a couple problems. Number one, students want to write down everything. So you're always like, okay, can you go back and show me again? You're like, nah. And then the other problem I found is when students are filling out their notes, when they miss a day or two, they just keep continuing their notes. And they don't realize there's this huge fat gap of stuff you never learned. But in their notes, it just kind of continues. And that's a problem. So one of the strategies that I use, and I'm a huge advocate of, is giving students something to be working on as you're going through your lesson. As you're actually talking about it, say, okay, now I explained this concept, now I want you to fill out this section, or I want you to define these things. So you can create your own guided notes. Some people do Cornell notes where they ask students a question, the students have to figure it out and fill it out. But what I don't do is have my students just take notes on everything or else they'll get behind. So in my classroom, what I use is the study guides that are part of the Ultimate Review Packet. Now, if you haven't seen the Ultimate Review Packet, let me know. I'll get you a free teacher trial so you can get access and see what's in there. But one of the things I'm talking about here is the study guides. They're awesome. As I'm progressing through the lesson, I'm asking students, all right, now answer questions 1, 2, and 3 in topic 2.5. All right, now answer questions this. And so as I'm teaching the concepts, students are listening and they're not taking a lot of notes per se, but then when we get to the practice side, I'll say, okay, now fill out this section of the study guide. And also remember, it solves one of the major problems. When students miss a class or miss a video, there'll be a gap in their guided notes, right? There'll be something on the study guide. There's like, okay, I didn't fill this out yet. That means you didn't learn it yet. So you can make your own study guides or your own guided practice, or you can use mine. These are the ones from the Ultimate Review Packet. But please remember, the Ultimate Review Packet is sold with a per student license for 1 year. If you're interested in a free teacher trial, go ahead and give me an email. Anyways, the point is, give students something to work on during your Zoom lessons or during your videos. Don't just have them sit there and just listen. Now, I'm going to keep sending you more videos and more resources as the year continues. One of the things I'm working on right now is figuring out what website I can use to do a trading pit activity for things like the Pearl Exchange or the handshake market, or in macroeconomics, the activity called risk, rates, and returns, or the labor market activity in microeconomics, the whole idea of them, hiring and firing workers. These activities all require students to be buying and selling from each other, and you can't do that virtually yet. I'm going to figure it out. When I do it, I'll send you a video. Good luck teaching this year. It's going to be tough, but we can do it. Stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for watching. Until next time.